Good evening or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Bonjour, and what would you say? Mrembe, Muriega, Muriotia. Wherever you are in Africa, the Middle East, Europe, America, Canada, South America, all the way into Wuhan and Beijing, and in Australia and New Zealand. Karibu and welcome to Come Let Us Reason. Come Let Us Reason comes to you every Thursday night, East African time. And this is an apologetic inquiry into the difficult questions that affect you every single day. And we are interested in these as Christians. And so we come to you with discussions, open discussions, and you can participate in these discussions. Hosting the show today is Ruben Kigame, and I am joined by a very, very wonderful friend of mine, Professor Donald Otieno from the University of Eldoret, married with 3 children. His wife is Beatrice, and he accepted Christ in 1999. And he says, I have never looked back. Very rare for a scientist to come up with such strong language on faith. But we will be talking to Professor tonight, and he'll be helping us engage in this whole area of evolution and science. Can the two go together? Do the two go together? Some people say yes, some people say no. So we needed a specialist to help us. He's a specialist in biology. I'll be introducing him a little more in just a bit. Professor, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ruben.
Yeah, it's nice to have you tonight. And friends, if you are watching us, please do pick up the link and share. And you can like our page, Kigame Media, and send it all the way to your WhatsApp group and wherever you will be tuned in tonight, and let somebody catch us as well. Well, before we delve into our broadcast, let us say a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we invite you to speak to us, to guide us. You are the fountain of knowledge. You are the source of truth. Indeed, you are the truth. And we call upon you to enlighten our minds and help us to draw close to you tonight. Thank you so much for this avenue of social media and every other aspect of communication we have at our disposal tonight. We ask that your Spirit will breathe upon these waves and help us to hear you and understand you better in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. We will shortly take a break and check on our sponsors, and we'll be right back with our discussion. If you are going to sign in, let us know where you are getting us from.
What comes to your mind when you think of the perfect home for your family? Is it the beauty, the comfort, the security, the convenience, or even the affordability? Victory Gardens offers exactly that and much more. It is just 10 minutes drive from Kitengela town and 3.8 kilometers off the tarmac. This gated community project comes with solar street lighting, Maram roads, beautiful trees, 24-hour security, and water connected to every plot. The best part is, families are already living here. Call us today on 0702 831083 or visit www.optiven.co.ke. What comes?
Welcome back. You are on Come Let Us Reason. That's an invitation, a straight invitation from the God of the Bible in Isaiah 1:18. And as Christians would say, the God of the Bible is not afraid of your questions. He challenges you to come and ask them. So don't you ever imagine that Christians are unwilling to talk. They are. And so tonight we are going to be engaging on one very thorny area, and that is the area of evolution and science. Do the two of them go together? Can you harmonize evolution and science? Christians say yes. Indeed, a lot of Christians say yes, but a number of Christians say no. There are Muslims who say yes, some say no. And so tonight we're going to be calling in an expert in the area of biology who accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as his Savior. He says in 1999, and he says in quote, I have never looked back. He is an elder at Sirikwa Pentecostal Fellowship in Eldoret in the Western Highlands of Kenya. And he does a lot of online mission work because he says, my passion is to see the lost being saved. That's a scientist telling you that. And he reaches out, aggressively online. He's been doing this for 10 years. And you know, his interest in science began way back at Kenyatta University, and he's been to the University of Addis Ababa in Ethiopia for his master's. He's been at the University of Witwatersrand in South Africa for his PhD, and he has quite a number of publications. They're a mouthful. I was trying to look at them, Professor, and I can't even pronounce some of them. I see one here you've got in the area of phylogeny and evolution. Phylogeny, is that what you say? Phylogeny, yes. and evolution of bacills.
Yes.
And allies.
Yes.
Is that the allies of bacills?
Exactly.
Basil?
Basil.
Yes. Okay, you'll tell us a little bit more. I can see you have another one here on ethnomedicine of the Kagera region in Tanzania. Is that a journal article you've got?
Yes, that's a journal article.
Fantastic. Yeah. So he's written quite a bit in the area of plant species, biology, ecology, and stuff like that. Welcome to the program, Professor.
Thank you.
We are glad to have you.
Thank you.
So, Prof, let's delve straight into this very controversial area of evolution. A lot of people think evolution is fact. There are those who think it's not fact, and that is going to be our dwelling place, in particular, whether evolution harmonizes with science. But first things first, what is this thing called evolution?
Well, evolution, if I can put it very simply, is the theory that asserts that all living things arose from a single source.
Okay.
And that single source itself emanated from an inorganic form.
Yes. So the source is organic.
The source is
inorganic.
Inorganic.
Okay.
So you can see the idea that everything that we see around us, every living form,
yes,
whether animal or plant or bacteria or virus or whatever it is,
yes,
emanated from a single source.
And that source is inorganic.
Inorganic, yes.
How would you define an inorganic substance? What is that?
That's a mixture of different molecules,
yes,
or if you like, chemicals. So the assertion is that this came together and then formed something that was living, and then from that thing that was living, everything else arose.
So help me to understand here. You have inorganic matter or substances causing organic substances. How does that happen?
Actually, it just boggles the mind.
Oh. but that's a theory out there.
Yes, that's a theory, but as a scientist, I mean, I've looked at this issue, and I still, up to now, can't understand how my fellow scientists believe in something, something like that.
So let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
All right.
What do they say happened for something inorganic to then develop into either something with DNA or something with some kind of breath or something living?
Yeah, you see that's the difficult part to understand, because the explanations,
yes,
as given, they don't make sense.
Okay.
In my view.
Okay.
Even though I'm a scientist, but
okay. You make me a bit worried, because a lot of people listening today know that evolution is fact, that everything that there is in the world evolved through long processes of some scientific operations. I know you give us an idea of where evolution actually comes from. I know we now know inorganic to organic. How did it begin? How far in time are we looking if we talk about the emergence of evolution?
The theory of evolution was started off by Charles Darwin. And that's, I believe, in the 1800s. Or
yes. I remember that he published something in 1859,
yes,
The Origin of Species.
Yes. So he's the one who came up with this theory. And his view was that what we see around us
Yes.
is as a result of what he referred to as natural selection.
Okay.
Natural selection taking place, and then those organisms that were fit
Yes.
are the ones that survive. And as a result of that, changes take place within these organisms, and they give rise to other
Okay.
organisms.
All right.
Yes.
So this is the theory he developed, and as we may well comment on theory, a theory is a summary of observations, right?
Observations, yes.
So he observed. How did he observe that?
Well, what he observed are birds in the island of, it was called Galapagos.
Galapagos.
Yeah.
South America.
In South America.
Yes.
So he saw that it was the same species, what he referred to as the same species,
Yes.
but then there were differences
Okay.
in their beaks.
Yes.
So he started investigating
Okay.
how could this have happened. And that's, I think, in his thinking, he came up with a theory that one form led to
another.
something else
Okay.
arising.
So if he is observing these species on the island and their variations, how do you relate interspecies variations to inorganic origins? That is actually
Things arose from a mixture of chemicals.
yes.
And what I read in the Bible, that God is the one who created everything.
Okay. If I run away from putting the cart before the horse for a moment, let me play the devil's advocate, as they would say. And so I'm with Darwin on the island of Galapagos, on the Galapagos Islands. And so I observe all these species changes. There is something in me that says, indeed, I mean, if you observe within a species, something that species contributes in any way to the processes that take place in terms of changes within that same species.
Now, you see, let's say we have two species here.
Yes.
Maybe
An orange.
a bird,
okay.
and a dog or a cat.
Okay.
Now, changes can take place in this bird
Yes.
within its genetic constitution
Yes. Yes.
that cause it to give rise to a different form.
Yes,
Not a
yes.
different species,
But
a different, maybe the
a longer
feathers,
beak.
maybe a longer beak, or the feathers,
Yeah.
maybe these ones feathers are brown, and the other one, the feathers will be
And
dark.
these could be environmental, right?
They could be environmental, but
could be
also they could
diet?
be arising from little changes that take place in the genetic constitution
Yeah.
of that.
So if a bird is growing in Europe, and where in the tropics, or in where you have the changes, the extreme weather changes, and one is growing in Africa, in the African savanna,
Yes.
are you bound to really see major changes in terms of formology, or how the bird looks?
Yes, the bird can change depending on the surroundings,
Okay.
the kind of habitat it.
Can it grow taller? I mean, longer or whatever?
Well, if probably certain mutations take place in its genetics,
Yes.
then it can lead to certain changes that are observable.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you're saying within the species it's possible?
Within the species, it's possible. But a species changing from, let's say,
A dog now to a bird?
a bird changing to become a dog,
Yeah.
I mean, that one, it's
You're saying scientifically that is impossible?
it's impossible. According to me.
Professor, this is all we hear. In fact, it's worse than that, because we are told not just that out of, a man walking on all fours or a creature walking on all fours,
Yes.
the Zinjanthropus or Australopithecus, you then end up with upright man.
Yeah, you see, that's what has been sold.
Yeah.
To
And maybe even that might be acceptable if we're talking about man, isn't it?
Yes, it could be.
But we're told it's from the gorilla, the monkey family, to humans.
Yeah, in fact, recently, I think just a day or two ago, I was reading another article which said it has been alleged that the genetic constitution of apes or chimpanzees, gorillas, is almost 99%
Really?
to that of human beings. That's what has been sold to people for a very long time.
Yeah. Is it corroborated?
But then a group of scientists carried out further investigation.
Okay.
And they found that actually there are very, very big differences
What?
between what people have been told is 99%
So how
close
big?
to man.
How big? This is 99%. How is it
So-
that big? Is
So like there's similarities about 70%,
what?
but 30% is completely different.
Brain power? Anything?
So if you just take in terms of the genes,
Yeah.
if 30% of genes are different,
Yeah.
there's no way
That's
those two
huge.
organisms
That's huge.
can be close to one another.
Okay. So, Professor, it seems acceptable to me that if we're talking about evolution within the same species, that is possible. Let me borrow a term some people use: micro evolution.
Yes.
Within the same apple family
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
But cross species influences or developments, let's call that macro.
Macro, yes.
So a grain of sand can bring about, an apple tree or something. I find that hard to accept.
Actually, that one, I don't see how it can happen.
Okay.
Because it would mean that there would be so many changes that would take place in the genetic, or there would be new information being added
Yes.
to this particular organism,
Yes.
to the extent that it would change and become something completely different.
Yes.
And that scientifically is not possible.
Okay.
Yes.
I see you've done a lot of work in the area of genetics, DNA, all these. Tell me what we are dealing with here, if we were to talk about the development within one species and maybe the development from one species to another. What kind of genetic differentiation are we talking about here?
Now, if a mutation
Yeah.
takes place
Yeah.
in an organism, a mutation is not necessarily something good,
Okay.
because most mutations are considered to be deleterious.
Wow.
That is, they cause the
Abnormality?
organism to be less fit to exist.
Wow. Uh-huh. Okay.
So if this organism is getting more and more of these mutations,
Yeah.
changes can take place within it that lead to observable changes or on its body.
Yes.
But then, for this organism to change, to become something else,
Yes.
it means it needs new information. New information to be added.
Yes.
Because you see, when a mutation occurs,
Yes.
it means that information is removed from its genetic makeup.
Or added?
Or sometimes added, yes.
Okay. Okay.
So you can see, it is ridiculous, in my view, to say that so much information is being added to an organism to the extent that that organism changes and becomes something completely different.
Wow. So, but Professor, grafting, if you have an orange that is not sweet and you have a mango that is very sweet, you bring in the grafting element. Are there dangers involved here? I thought we are gaining something here.
Okay, you see, now grafting, I think you're bringing one species and putting it onto another.
Yes.
But you're not changing the genetic constitution of the original species.
Got you. So it's still an orange.
It's still an orange.
But it's sweeter.
But it's sweeter, yes.
Got you.
You've not changed much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there is a battle between theists and evolutionists, or Darwinists for that matter, is it really grievous to just harmonize and say, for example, either God used evolution to create? There are those that are arguing in this direction. Does it look harmonizable?
To me, it doesn't. Okay. Because first, we have to prove that evolution is scientific. I mean, it's a science.
You look like you're even questioning it. It comes to us. I mean,
Yes.
in our schools, if you go to the high schools, Form 4 biology has a chapter on comparative anatomy, comparative embryology. It's all evolutionary. They're saying it's science. In history, they're saying early man evolved, you know. So you're saying it's not?
Yeah, you see, that's what people have been led to believe that. And actually, I know in the West, those people who try to advocate for example, creationism to be taught in schools or at the universities, they always have problems. Some of them are laid off. I mean, they are forced to resign.
Why? I mean, don't they come with data? I mean, scientific, I assume, data?
Yeah, you see, that's where the problem is, because the theory of evolution has been kind of propagated for a very long time.
Yes.
Until everybody takes it to be the truth.
Whoa.
But then, people like me now, scientists who believe in creation, people have come up with evidences to falsify this theory.
But Professor, people say that you separate faith and science. I mean, you can't be a Christian and be a scientist.
No, you can. You can. I mean, what prevents you from not being a scientist if you're a Christian?
Because all scientists are evolutionists, they say.
Not true. Not true. There are many scientists who are not. For example, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
There's this scientist who discovered what is known as the gene gun.
Okay.
He's a very famous scientist.
His name?
John Salford or John Sanford.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in the US.
Okay.
He's
a Christian?
He's a Christian.
And a scientist.
And a scientist. And he's the one who discovered this gene gun that is used to target specific areas in, for example, a DNA of an organism. And it can be altered so that that organism is given a different trait.
Wow. Wow.
So that's a Christian.
Okay. So before we take a break, and I'm interested in that scientific aspect. Actually, that's why I asked you to be here today, because you're a scientist. Could you tell me what Christians believe about the origin of life and if someone is listening tonight is saying there is an alternative to evolution, what is this alternative?
Yes, we Christians, we believe that there is a higher being
Okay.
who created everything that we see around us, and that is
You
God.
use the word who. Is it person?
Yes, this is a person
Okay.
who was there at the beginning,
Okay.
even before the beginning.
Okay.
So he's the originator
Okay.
of everything. You see, it makes, to me, it makes a lot of sense because, for example, a building, if you
Yeah.
look at a building,
Yeah.
you'll know that there was a builder. Somebody
So
put
design.
it together, who
Yeah.
designed it and
Yes.
put it together.
Okay. So you're positing an intelligent designer here.
Exactly. Somebody who, out of his own mind, he thought and saw that he could do things and bring life onto this earth, make plants, make animals.
Yeah.
And you see, that is why it is important for us to, as scientists,
Yes.
to look at the simplest solution to a problem.
Okay. Okay.
What can you look at which can give you a simple answer to this very complex thing?
I hear you. I hear you.
So if you can get to that, then that makes sense.
Okay.
But if you have an answer that is so complex and it doesn't really make things very for people to understand easily,
Yes.
then you can raise questions about that explanation of how things came about.
Wow. This is all very fascinating. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Come Let Us Reason. You're watching us from Eldoret, Kenya, where we are broadcasting to you live on our Facebook page, Kigame Media. And for those of you that have been looking for our YouTube channel, we want to remind you that our channel was actually hacked into, but we have started another channel that is going to carry a lot of this content and will run all the way into a TV station. You can begin to subscribe to that channel so that sooner or later we can have these broadcasts on there as well. We need to raise 1,000 subscribers to go live. And so go and look for Fish TV Africa. Fish TV Africa will be sharing the link on this particular thread. And you can subscribe and help us to go live pretty soon on there. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we return, I want to find out how one can actually be a Christian and a scientist, but more so to see whether evolution in fact is scientific. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Do you mind when you think of the perfect home for your family? Is it the beauty, the comfort, the security, the convenience, or even the affordability? Victory Gardens offers exactly that and much more. It is just 10 minutes drive from Kitengela town and 3.8 kilometers off the tarmac. This gated community project comes with solar street lighting, Maram roads, beautiful trees, 24-hour security, and water connected to every plot. The best part is, families are already living here. Call us today on 0702 831083 or visit www.optiven.co.ke. What comes to you?
Welcome right back. You are on Come Let Us Reason right here on Kigame Media on Facebook. You can like our page, and certainly you can begin subscribing to our new channel, Fish TV Africa. We are going to be reaching all over the continent and into the diaspora all over the world on the internet, as well as other media will be telling you about. So go ahead and hit that subscription button on Fish TV Africa and leave us a comment there. You can already watch some of what is there. In the studio today, I have Professor Donald Otieno, who is a professor in the area of biology. And how would you describe your area, sir?
I specialize in plant systematics.
Plant systematics.
Yes.
You know, we theologians are used to systematic theology. You have plant systematics. What
Yes.
do you systematize?
Okay, to put it very simply in
Yes.
a way that people can understand,
Mm-hmm.
it largely involves classifying plants
Okay.
into different groups,
Okay.
and then seeing how they are related to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a lot of evolutionary work
Okay.
being done to see how the groups are related
Yes.
evolutionarily.
Wow.
Yeah, but
You are really the right person for my show today. Professor also is an elder at Sirikwa Pentecostal Fellowship in Eldoret, and he does a lot of online missionary work, he says, because, and I quote him, "My passion is to see the lost being saved." You said that.
yes, that's something I really hold
And you
dear to my
insist
heart.
you can be a Christian and a scientist.
Definitely.
So how come the whole academic system pretty much is sold to evolution and not creation? I mean, you are a Christian, you've been looking at these things for a long time. How, I'm trying to be as polite as I can, could it be we have been duped or deceived that actually evolution is science? Is that possible?
I think it is.
Are you serious?
Yes, I can say that confidently.
As a scientist,
Yes.
in your right mind, you can say
Yes.
evolution has issues?
Has a lot of issues.
Okay, it's your turn. Convince me. You know, and several listeners, several people watching all over the country, different countries, convince us that there is a problem with evolution.
Now-
because this is the entire education system you're going to take down.
Now, you see, if I think many scientists agree that if a scientific explanation has to be accepted,
Yeah.
then there are certain criteria
Yes.
it must fulfill.
What are these? What are these criteria?
So, like, there are about 6.
Okay.
It must be based on observational data.
Observation.
It must make accurate predictions.
Okay.
It must be logical.
Uh-huh.
It must not have presuppositions.
Okay. So you must observe before you
Yes.
conclude. Okay.
Yes. Then also, it must give accurate information to people.
Okay. Okay.
Now, if you test evolution,
Yes.
Against-
I'm listening.
if you test evolution against these 6
Yes.
criteria,
Yes.
you'll find that evolution fails in every one of them.
No.
Yes, it does.
All,
And
all those, you know, observation, you know, logicality, all
yeah,
these.
for example, can you observe evolution? Can you see
But
it?
Prof, neither can you observe creation.
Yes, I agree with that. But then now, if that is the case, then we must investigate both and see
Okay.
which one gives us facts.
Okay.
That can,
And you are insisting evolution doesn't have facts.
evolution doesn't. It doesn't give.
Okay.
Okay, people say it has facts, but those facts, a lot of times, in fact, I can say confidently that those facts have been shown to be not accurate by fellow scientists.
Oh, okay. Professor, take us through some of these, because now I know some people are about to lose their jobs. Maybe some people are about to have a bad night because they have believed evolution to be fact. This is scientific fact. We find it in paleontology, you find it in geology, you find it in history, in biology, in zoology, botany, all of this, and you're going to say there are errors.
Yes. So, for example, if we take just one of these criteria that
Okay.
I've mentioned,
Okay.
is it observable?
Okay.
Now, if you ask evolutionists, for example, because their claim is that everything arose from something that was a single source,
Yes. Yes.
which also was inorganic.
Something in an organic soup.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, for example, can an amoeba,
Okay.
if we take a very simple being,
Mm-hmm.
an amoeba,
Mm-hmm.
can it change and become a human being, for example? And would you be able to observe those changes taking place until this single-celled organism evolves and becomes a human being?
Prof, Darwin and his friends say, give it time. Just give it time, Prof. It will happen.
Now, let me also now see how I can falsify that claim by Darwin.
Okay.
Give it time. Geologists have done lots of studies. They've gone through, they've even archaeologists, they've dug fossils, but one thing that they've been unable to demonstrate up to now is in the different strata that you find on the earth.
Yeah.
When you dig, you will find organisms appearing at one strata and then disappearing, then another organism appearing.
A different one.
A different one.
Okay.
But in between, if you try and ask, there are no forms that led from this one to the one
upper strata.
to the upper strata. There are no transitional forms, and that is something that evolutionists have struggled with.
Yeah.
You see, Darwin, when he made those proposals,
Yeah.
This theory,
Yeah.
he was hoping that in hundreds of years,
Yes. He'll take
fossil
care of
records would...
he talked about missing links.
Exactly, missing links. So he was hoping that fossil records would be excavated that would be able to demonstrate that this organism evolved and changed into this one, this one changed into this one changed into this one. So there would be a whole lot of organisms showing that there was a transition from one
So you are
form.
saying the missing links are missing because they were not there?
They're not there.
What?
They are not, absolutely. Because up to now, this is something even today evolutionists are struggling with. They can't.
So why is it in the books?
They can't demonstrate. Now, why it's in the book? Because it is what has been propagated for hundreds of years.
Professor, you're saying all these ministers of education, all these academicians, all these people are packing all this information in the books when they know there are missing links?
Exactly.
What?
So that's why I'm saying it's something that people have been cheated. People have been cheated. Our students have been cheated that this is true. But actually, if you look at the facts, that is, if you look at the facts rationally, not with emotion, not with...
Yeah.
Just look at the facts.
But it makes one angry, Prof. I mean, people have earned degrees.
I know.
Yeah.
But
you've supervised some thesis yourself.
Yes, I know. But what I'm trying to say is that let the alternative also be given space so that people can look at the two and judge which one is true.
Okay, Prof, you provoke me to give you another chance to actually answer just that question. Should evolution, in fact, be taught in schools? But you're talking about many problems. Give me another problem with evolution.
Now, I can think of another one.
Okay.
For a long time, people have been told that, for example, in the human body, that there are organs which are vestigial, so they have no use.
Like I used to have a tail at the back here, and it somehow went missing, right?
Like the human appendix.
Yeah.
We've been told this thing is
vestigial.
Useless. It's an organ that we have in our bodies, but it's of no use because...
Does it have use?
Yes, it has been recently shown that the appendix has got uses, especially when somebody is still young.
Okay.
So it's not actually a vestigial organ.
So I can get rid of it when I'm older?
But that's what evolutionists push, that the there's some organs in animals
Yeah.
that are vestigial, and they've remained so for millions of years.
Yeah.
But up to now, they are being shown not to. They're being shown not to have any use.
Okay.
Another interesting example
Yeah.
is DNA.
Yeah. Okay. I'm very interested in that.
There are regions that have been shown to be non-coding.
Okay.
So they
Explain
refer to
that for a minute.
they
So
they
what's
don't
coding and non-coding?
the areas that give information
Yeah, yeah.
are referred to as code.
Okay.
They are coded regions.
Okay.
So they give information
Okay.
that helps in the formation of an organism.
Okay.
But then there are other regions that have also been identified, which are referred to as non-coding regions. And evolutionists have often said that these regions they've referred to them as junk DNA. So they have accumulated over millions of years, but they have no use.
Because they're non-coding.
Because they're non-coding. But it has also been shown that actually these non-coding regions
Yeah.
have got specific functions that they carry out in the cells.
Wow.
So you see that again falsifies
Yeah.
what evolution is, advanced as fact.
That's amazing. You know, I'm a musician, so when you talk about coding and non-coding elements, I think about sound, and I think about when you're writing a song, you have spaces you call rests, when you don't do anything. And so I come and say those rests are useless because there's nothing happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, and yet they give the sound its measure and all that, you know. So what has led them to conclude that they're useless, they're not useful?
Yeah, these are discoveries that have just been made recently because it was more or less accepted that the non-coding regions are not, they are not informative.
Yeah.
They don't give any information.
Yeah.
But from research that has been done recently,
Yeah.
it has been shown that actually there are certain functions that are coded for by these what are referred to as non-coding regions of DNA.
So let me hitchhike on that DNA thing a bit. When you look at this is Braille.
Yes.
And I've made dots on the piece of paper. You can make marks with your pen, or, you know, you can write with your computer and so on, and come up with words and so on, and eventually maybe come up with one of those journal articles you've written or a book. And I'm imagining that it takes a lot of intelligence to come up with a sentence.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so as you speak, I'm thinking about DNA as unspoken sentences that are put together, and then, you know, they say Kigame will look like this,
yes,
and Professor will look like this. Now, you're telling me, or rather, let me ask it different. What do evolutionists say of the complex nature of the information content within DNA? You know, the specified complexity, this coding that gives so much information that we don't even observe. How do they rationalize that with the whole issue of like random processes, you know, all this chance, you know, theory and so on?
Yeah, you see, that's something that they always run away from, because when you try to find out from evolutionists how these complex mechanisms and processes that we see, for example, in a cell.
Yes.
How come? Actually, it has been observed, for example, that there are certain proteins within the cell.
Yes.
That do manual work.
What?
They are called kinesins.
Okay, kinesins.
They actually can transport proteins that have been produced in one part of the cell and take them to another part of the cell.
What?
And they've been observed to actually, like they're walking along a pathway.
Wow.
So you can ask yourself now, this is a very complex
process
system within a cell. How do you explain that this thing just came about from nowhere? It just happened.
Or randomly, for that matter.
Yeah, and then now it does very specific things.
Yes.
Yet its origin is random.
It's like running matatu services within a cell. You know, take this muzigo from here to there and give that information and bring information back.
Exactly.
Wow.
So you see, evolutionists cannot explain that. But when creationists say that it's an intelligent being that did this, who knew exactly what should happen where and what should do what, and put them together in the cell, and that's why the cell functions the way it does.
Wow. Professor, tell me, I know you know this, tell me, in a single cell, I'm just trying to have an idea, in a single cell, one cell, how much information is there?
Oh, I mean, I can't even, because you see, we have the nucleus, and then within the nucleus, we have the DNA.
Okay.
And the DNA is the one that contains all the information that is needed to make you, for example, be who you are.
Okay.
All that information comes from within the nucleus.
It can distinguish between two twins?
So yes, so it's mind-boggling, the amount of information that is contained even just in one cell.
How many books? Imagine this size book. Like, give me a rough idea.
For example, I can't quite remember how many times that if the DNA in a nucleus of a cell is unwound and stretched, it can go thousands of kilometers.
Kilometers?
Yes, just that single
printing out that information.
Yes, so all that information that is contained in that DNA, it is so immense. It's a lot of information that it's like I said earlier, it's mind-boggling even to try and figure it out. So a cell, and now in our bodies we don't just have one cell. We have millions of cells.
Yes.
And so you can imagine how much information is contained in the cells that we have within our bodies. It's a lot.
Prof, I'm going to take a short break here. My mind is bursting with anger because I'm thinking, how could we have been deceived for so long? I want you to conclude with some thoughts on that, but let's very quickly take a break here. Friends, you are viewing Come Let Us Reason, coming to you from Eldoret, Kenya, from Kenya's Western Highlands. This is a program that comes to you every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. East African time, and we delve mercilessly into all these things. And you can raise your questions. You can inbox us, and you can also get back to us on +254 720 229999. You can certainly WhatsApp your question there. You can look for information from us. We could send you some material. We are very interested in dialogue, regardless of what you believe, what you've learned, what you've read. We want to talk about it here. Knowledge matters. The Bible tells us, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So God invites you, come, let us reason, let us reason. So Christians are not afraid to reason because it's an invitation from God. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be winding up here. Professor is here in the house. He'll help you.
Mind when you think of the perfect home for your family? Is it the beauty, the comfort, the security, the convenience, or even the affordability? Victory Gardens offers exactly that and much more. It is just 10 minutes drive from Kitengela town and 3.8 kilometers off the tarmac. This gated community project comes with solar street lighting, Maram roads, beautiful trees, 24-hour security, and water connected to every plot. The best part is, families are already living here. Call us today on 0702-831083 or visit www.optivan.co.ke. What comes to your mind when you think of the perfect home for your family? Is it the beauty, the comfort, the security, the convenience, or even the affordability. Victory Gardens offers exactly that and much more. It is just 10 minutes drive from Kitech.
Thank you. We are back. Come, Let Us Reason is on its dying minutes here. I am in the studio with Professor Donald Otieno from the University of Eldoret. Lorato Nkuna, thank you so much for your question. You are asking, since there is not so much proof, could you classify evolution as a belief system, as a faith? And Sami Mate, thank you very much for posting a link there on transitional forms. You want Professor to comment when he has time. I think we'll pass that to him to look at, and we'll coax him to be back and be able to talk to us about that. Could you respond to Lorato briefly? Is evolution a matter of faith?
Yes, actually, I can say evolution is religious.
Mm-hmm. Religious?
Yes, because how do you define religion?
Okay, tell me.
It's a set of beliefs that one holds that concerning the cause, the nature, and the purpose of why, for example, the universe exists.
Okay.
So evolutionists have got all this. They have beliefs concerning the cause, concerning the nature,
yes,
and concerning the purpose of why the universe exists. So it can be classified as a religion, actually. It's not a science, it's a religion.
You're amazing here.
Yes.
So what is the belief there? With the belief aspect, I think Lorato wants to see the belief component here in evolution.
Now, evolutionists, to a large extent, most of them believe that there's no God.
Okay. Okay.
So they are
things just happen.
They are atheists.
Okay.
In other words. So they believe that there's no God. So they believe, therefore, that God is not the originator of life. So they have an alternative. So
that's an alternative belief.
Belief that they have, exactly.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. Any quick comment? I know time is not on our side. Transitional forms, what is that?
That's what I talked about earlier.
Yes.
When I say that...
the missing links?
Yes, when excavations are done, and then you look at the different strata where people get fossil records from, you find that there is one form here, and then there's another form in a different strata.
Yes.
And then you're told that this form in the upper strata came from this one. Yeah. But in between then, therefore, you expect to find different forms that led to the one which is in the upper strata.
Okay.
So these are what are referred to as the transitional forms that led from this one to the one which is in the upper strata.
Okay.
But these are the ones that are missing. They've never been found. Yeah, for different animals and etc.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we should look at that article and then comment on it.
I think
is it okay to ask you to be back, God willing?
Well, yeah, I'm open.
Thank you, Prof. It would be nice for you to be back so that you can help us answer that question on transitional forms, but also to help us even put in perspective, therefore, how come the entire education system all over the world is sold to macroevolution? I'm very eager to hear what your thoughts are. Excuse me. Could you, as we wind up, maybe answer one question? If there was one thing that you would leave with our audience tonight, something about this entire discussion that is so close to your heart that you would say, this one you must know, or this one you must put in mind, what would that be?
I think people need to interrogate things that they are given as facts. Be critical, look at those facts with a very keen eye. Read, investigate, and find out whether what you're being given as truth is actually true. So if you do your own investigations, if you do your own research, you will come to a point where you'll be able to tell this is true, this is not true.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Professor, thank you so much for being here tonight. What you've brought to us tonight is like what Albert Schweitzer once described as the shaking of foundations. I think a lot of foundations are being shaken tonight, and you're being asked to think through these things. In case you want more information about evolution and creation, maybe you can get in touch with us. We have a couple resources we could share, and certainly Professor has some things to share back and forth, and he can answer your questions too. So inbox those questions, keep them coming, and do not forget to subscribe to our new channel. This is where this program will actually be hosted, and many other wonderful discussion programs on Fish TV Africa. Look for it on YouTube, subscribe and tell a friend and tell a friend, and don't forget to tell a friend until we are able to put this program on there. From me, Ruben Kigame, and on behalf of Professor Donald Otieno and the entire Come Let Us Reason crew and desk, we say it's au revoir, bye-bye, God bless you, auf Wiedersehen. See you next Thursday around.